My co-host is late because bus is late. But I'm Princess B from Cannabis DC here at Tasty Tuesdays at Listen Vision for Infused and Confused, DC's only live cannabis cooking show. So today, I'm going to be making mac and cheese. So I actually did a poll online because I didn't know what people would want. So it was a pretty close vote. It ended up being like 3 votes made it mac and cheese, and the other was for Taco Tuesday Part 2. So that's going to be next week. So this week is mac and cheese. Next week is going to be Taco Tuesday Part 2. Yay! I think some people in here are excited that it's mac and cheese. Am I right? Yeah? Alright, so there's a whole bunch of different ways you can make mac and cheese. This is definitely not the version that I would make on like Thanksgiving. That way, you know, that's the one that I like gotta bake in the oven and has like 10 different cheeses in it and all that, and it takes me like a good long time to make it. We're not gonna do that today. For one, because this is only an hour show. And two, I don't have an oven here, so I just have my little hot plate, which means I can't use an oven. So this is the like stovetop version of mac and cheese. So, start by turning this on. And be sure to leave comments if you're watching on Facebook because I have it over here so I can actually answer you today. So, I've got 3 different cheeses, or 4 different cheeses. I've got cream cheese, white American cheese, Havarti, and cheddar. So, I'm just going to start cutting this up.
More cheese!
There's no such thing as too much cheese. Just want to throw that out there. I actually was planning on like stopping and getting like smoked Gouda and a couple of other like really good ones, but like traffic this morning was not good, so I just stuck with these.
Love traffic.
Exactly. If you live in DC or near DC, you know all about like the traffic woes. People message me sometimes at like 6:30 and ask me to do something. I'm like, no, I don't leave again until 7:30. Thank you. But yeah, so my grandma's version of macaroni and cheese is definitely like the baked version, and I did want to bring that up because if you don't want to do the stovetop version or you want to do this version and still bake it, a really good way of infusing a baked version of mac and cheese is to like make your mac and cheese like normal and then put breadcrumbs on top, and you would normally like drizzle like butter or oil over your breadcrumbs like to bake them. So at that point then just use infused oil. So if you want to do baked mac and cheese and don't want to worry about trying to infuse the sauce, that's another way you can do it. Can you go to a break real quick? Is it still live? It's still live. Nobody knows how to. Technical difficulties. We'll be right back. Anybody? No? Nobody?
Broadcasting worldwide from Listen Vision Studios, this is WLVS. DC's #1 station for music, talk, and entertainment. WLVS.
About some things that you may have some questions about, some thoughts about, maybe some opinions about.
Let's jump right in, ladies.
We got an awesome show coming up for you guys.
And ladies, this is about you being honest.
So I started coaching women on how to start and grow a business.
When you're working a full-time job and holding down a show and a family and a son, you know how it is, ladies.
You're on power schedule.
schedule.
There is no shame in saying that this is what I'm experiencing.
It has been so much fun to be able to get back to being me again and really celebrating myself as well as my family and my home.
I help people with all aspects of online dating.
Woo, that's what I'm
4
talking
minutes
sisters
flat.
helping sisters.
We have done some non-etiquette things.
Yes.
There's so many expectations that people put on us. You go to work, come home, take care of the kids, cook, clean, go to school, pursue your passion.
Not to focus on things that you can't do, but focus on things that you really, really can do. And
Like all of you, she is phenomenal.
This is the future of radio.
It's always a pleasure to be here and with you all out there.
So say bye to the WLVS listeners. Thank you for tuning in.
Listen, we got to get through a lot more stuff, so I wanted to let you know some crazy shit. Every single thing, every single service that we have here at this company is now available online for purchase. Here's the crazy thing about it, is if you want like an album deal or a big expensive music video or some expensive thing that you can't afford, you can now afford it, because guess what? There's a thing called PayPal credit, where basically you put in your information, PayPal extends you the credit, they pay us, and you pay them in increments, little tiny increments, until it's probably all paid off, okay? So now you have an incredible way to actually use services that are way above your welterweight, above your hitting weight, you know what I mean? If you can only afford, just a few hours in the studio, but you ultimately know that you need an EP deal or an album deal or a music video or a show here, you can finance it on credit. And let me tell you, while I'm not personally a huge fan of credit, I'll be honest with you, the bank owns more of my house than I do, and I'm a homeowner, okay? So that's how America works.
And a whole listen vision, Power Saturdays, Eddie Kane Show, Raised by the Game, and I am DMV's #1 hip-hop host, Bishop Twan, baby. We appreciate everybody for listening. Thank you. Shout out to everybody who's been listening to us and been rocking with us. Real Talk with Bishop Twan. I am DMV's #1 hip-hop host, and we up out of here, babe. Cook it up. That is a banger right there, man, go. Real Talk with Bishop Twan, that was fire. We gonna have to call the fire department, man. But right now, West Side, they did their thing. New York did their thing. Atlanta having the ball right now, but it's time to put DMV on. We up next, man. We got live artists, man. Wale, Phil Day, Uptown Slim, Bishop Twan, man. I'm about to get it in. It's about to go down like 4 flat tires on the hoopy. Lights, camera, action. Time for some action. Break you down to fraction. I multiply.
Alright, welcome back. Sorry about that. This is Coco, by the way. Hey, y'all. I can help entertain y'all while we make this mac and cheese. Are you excited?
Of course.
You're always excited about free food, aren't you? I don't think it's a problem for you. Alright, so I'm putting some butter in the pan. We're going to let this kind of do its thing for a minute. I'm making a roux. Do you know what that is? No. Are you a cooking person? Do you know what a roux is? A roux is when you take butter, oil. It's like when you're making gravy, right? So you put butter, oil in the pan, and you're going to add flour. So I'm going to use gluten-free flour only because I needed to be able to taste the sauce, but the noodles are not gluten-free, and I made those ahead of time because I didn't want to have to try to worry about, draining noodles here. So, anyway, I'm just going to put a little bit of flour in with the butter. Now, you could start out with infused butter, from the bat, but I just didn't want to, I needed a lot of butter, so, I couldn't have put that much infused butter, and, people wouldn't have been able to drive home. So.
Wait a minute, his step.
So now I'm going to just add a little bit of milk. I basically was just letting those two things kind of melt together a little bit. I'm going to add milk a little bit at a time. And it's basically just going to start to make kind of like a little gravy. And then you add cheese.
So, I don't want to say, I don't know, weird, but if you're adding milk in there,
right,
and then cooking it together, right?
Right.
If the milk brings
think that's just like, I don't know if there's any science to actually back that up. I think that's one of those like stoner rumors. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, like you know how when people say that like if you eat mangoes when you get high, that like it gets you higher. That's true. So the reason people say that is because mangoes are high in myrcene, which is what's commonly, it's a terpene that's most commonly present in indicas. Makes you feel relaxed and chill, right? So, but like a lot of it is like you're not gonna eat a mango and get like so high you can't function. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it might increase it a little bit, but it's not like gonna say. Right. So now that I got this, see how it's getting kind of thick? Yep. So I'm gonna add a little bit more milk. So this is just the stovetop version, but it's gonna make it like real creamy and good without having to like bake it. And it doesn't have eggs, but the baked version usually has some eggs. So I make homemade macaroni and cheese at Thanksgiving and Christmas. What about you?
I've never made homemade macaroni.
Ever?
Ever?
Does somebody in your family make macaroni and cheese?
Yeah, but I'm so picky with my macaroni. It's like, when it's baked, it's like I don't like the top to be crispy.
You like a real creamy mac and cheese?
Yeah, so.
Okay, so. So I'm gonna add, I don't know, I'm gonna eyeball it. We're gonna guess here. I'm shooting for a tablespoon, but that's probably about a tablespoon. That's infused olive oil. So you could start at the bottom of your base of your sauce with that, but the problem is that if you cook it too much, you're gonna start converting your THC, CBN, and you don't want to do that. So I find it better to just put it in after that. Kind of let it come up a little bit. Cook some of this flour out. So first cheese I'm gonna add is cream cheese. I use a whipped one. You don't have to use a whipped one. You can use a regular one. I just like the consistency of the whipped one better. I think that it cooks better, like it's smoother. Because, you know, we all want like a smooth mac and cheese, right?
Right.
So how you feeling today?
Pretty high, so I had to put my little hater blockers in.
You got your what?
Well, hater blockers.
Hater blockers.
Hater blockers.
You got haters?
Yeah, you gotta block them away.
Tell people who you're with.
I'm with ladies of Amsterdam.
How are they find
Hey,
you?
Roro. You can follow us at ladies _of _Amsterdam. And you can also follow us at scooter.gold on Instagram. You can follow me at Smokey Co. Hey, y'all.
Smokey Co.
Smokey Co.
I see you going live over there a lot. You like to go live?
Yeah, but not really.
No? Just when you're here?
Yeah.
Listen versus tradition brings that out of people. Alright, so the cream cheese doesn't have to be fully, like, see how there's still, like, some little, like, bumps of it? It's gonna melt through, and then once you mix in the noodles, then it's definitely gonna melt through. So the first cheese, or the second cheese I'm gonna put in is the white American. This is Velveeta, but you can use any American, you can use Velveeta, you can use Boar's Head. I actually prefer using Boar's Head, I just didn't go to the store, so I had this left. So, put that in there. Then I have to add more milk in there. Giving it a chance to melt. Yep. Yep. And how much you need kind of varies on how much like cheese is in it. I'm putting a lot of cheese, so probably gonna need a lot more. Did you do anything fun this weekend?
No, this weekend I'm gonna save the money street right now. So
Story of my life.
I stayed home and I smoked a little and I educated myself on other type of hustles.
What other kind of hustles?
hustles are through apps, you know, like I do Postmates, of course.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I'm trying to get into Ship. Ship is like a grocery.
They do Target, right? Yep, I saw that the other day. I'm a big fan of delivery services. I have no shame. Like, I'm all about, like, convenience.
And that's what I've been looking into, delivery. And just ways I can help people out.
Actually, as a matter of fact, so Walmart has this new, like, pickup service thing. Have you seen that? Where you can, like, order it on their app, and then you just, like, pull up, and they come out with your groceries and whatever. So I do grocery shopping on Wednesdays. I already put in my order for tomorrow. I'm so excited. All I gotta do is roll up. And they're gonna put everything in my car for me. It's gonna be wonderful. Alright, see how that's starting to get like big, creamy, and nice. No, I wish I could. Can you zoom in on the camera if I angle it? No? Can you zoom in? Alright, so see how it's like really creamy and like...
This smells amazing.
Technical difficulty, we'll be right back. I'm really excited, but I can't even eat it all I can do, so there we go. Down. Boom. Alright, so see how it's like really creamy? So honestly, you could do it just like this and it would be fine, but I'm like super extra and I like extra cheese in my mac and cheese. So I'm gonna add the Havarti.
Oh man, how many cheeses are in there now?
This is the third, and then the cheddar will be the fourth. Sal from Freda's Kitchens is over here in the audience, by the way. Sal works with me with Elevated Roots Academy. So if you're interested in learning how to cook cannabis food, follow us on Instagram at Elevated Roots Academy and sign up for one of the cooking classes. And we even have a whole class we're doing on decarbing. Because you know there's a lot of people that want to learn how to cook with stuff and they don't even know the basic of like decarbing and making oil and making butter. Didn't you say when you sat up here you didn't know how to do all that? See, you should come check out the class. Alright, so it's starting to get really like stringy, which is how I like it. But I'm gonna add more milk.
Hey, take a quick break real quick. They can't hear you on
Okay. They can't hear me. They can't hear me. Okay, guys, are we taking a break?
Just keep on going. We're gonna set up a lapel.
Okay. Alright, so added some more milk, mixing that together. So I don't know if you can see that melty stringy stuff happening there. Mm-hmm. Alright, so the cheddar, I'm gonna put that in. And then I'm gonna put the noodles in. So these I already cooked. I cooked this morning. These are, hold on, just realized. I can't have it once those noodles go in. So. It's really good, but it needs a little bit of salt. Probably too much pepper, but I really like pepper. You like pepper?
Yeah, I put a little extra pepper in everything.
It's delicious. I don't know how people like buy like, if you see how people buy like no salt added food, like I understand that like you got a heart condition or whatever, like why you need to do that, but I can't.
But it's the thing when it's salt already in it, and then you have to add extra salt.
Now that's a problem, I guess. But
yeah, it's a problem when you got to add. I'm trying to emphasize it to somebody over there. He likes to add a little extra salt. And I'm like, that's enough. No, you gotta add some more salt.
can you hear me?
Oh, hey.
Good.
It was off the whole time.
Alright. So now what I'm gonna do is add in the noodles. Because I can't eat it after this, but you get to taste it before anybody else.
Boom.
So I'm gonna put in these noodles. This is just regular elbow macaroni. You can use whatever kind of noodles you like. If you have celiac or gluten-free like me, you can use gluten-free noodles. That's fine. Gluten-free noodles don't cook well ahead of time, which is why I didn't bring any of those for myself. You can also, like, if you're really not trying to have any, like, pasta or whatever, you can even, like, cut up cauliflower and use cauliflower instead of noodles. It's definitely, like, not the same.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's.
No, it's not the same, but it tastes good, and it at least kind of, like, gives you that comfort food taste without, you know, the noodles. So basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to mix these in.
Wow.
And then it's got to cook for like another couple minutes with the noodles in it.
Yeah, I
so
never
noodles,
had
like, soak up
macaroni
this
like
sauce.
this. Not never, ever had this.
Can you zoom in on this?
Like super zoom.
So if you see, so I'm basically just gonna leave it in here so that the noodles like soak up that cheesy sauce. So I'm gonna leave it in here for like a minute or two just to kind of like warm it up and let it all meld together. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. So it's pretty easy. If you didn't want to make this infused, you don't have to make it infused. If you wanted to do it like I said earlier, if you want to do a baked version with breadcrumbs, basically make your macaroni and cheese how you want to make it, sprinkle breadcrumbs on top, drizzle it with infused oil or butter, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I remember that. 3 steps.
Yep, exactly.
3
You could even do it with some like Kraft if you really want to be like real simple.
Make me a little
make you a
personal
little
plate.
box of like Kraft mac and cheese, throw a little bit of breadcrumbs on top. But this is easy. Pretty much anybody can do this. Like, a lot of cooking, in my experience, isn't really as hard as people think that it is. It's just a matter of not knowing, like, some basic cooking skills. But, like, once you have, like, some really basic skills, like, I really think that, like, anybody can cook.
So if you know the basics, you feel as though you can cook anything basically.
Pretty much, like, and if you don't know how to cook something, like, if it's something that's, like, very technical, like, there's a lot of, like, technical baking that I don't really have a lot of experience with. Like, I could not tell you how to make a croissant. I know the general idea. I know that it's, like, butter, super pressed into, like, the dough, and that they make these, like, super thin layers, but, like, I've never done it. So, like, that to me is, like, a special skill kind of cooking. But, like, just generally cooking, I think anybody can do it. And definitely, like, saves a lot of money because, like, it's expensive to eat out every day. And those, like, little dollar meals or whatever, they add up. Like, it never stays that way. Plus, it's not even a dollar menu anymore, most of them.
I just add little apps that teach me how to cook.
Those are good. Do you have any, like, favorites?
Yumly.
Yumly? Do they show you, like, step by step how to do stuff?
Some of them have videos. Some of them show you how it's supposed to turn out, like before you put it in the oven or before you do whatever you need to do to it.
Nice.
I made a couple of those dishes off there.
What'd you make?
I made some shrimp scampi.
That sounds good.
I made some, the first time I ever fried some butterfly shrimp, some shit like that. Mind your business. You don't even know how to cook, boo-boo. Huh. Right.
So maybe he needs to download that app. Why is it you downloading the app and going through the thing? I think you need to download that app.
And cook for me.
It is 2018. It is not acceptable for men to not know how to cook anymore. Sorry. Not getting that excuse anymore. You work. So she got to work and she got to cook? That's the expectation? I don't think that's fair.
What the? Oh, you about to make me cut some camera.
Yeah, see?
Hey, y'all.
Alright, so I think this is pretty much done.
See if you get some of this macaroni.
Coco, I'm gonna let you try it. By the way, thanks to everybody watching on Facebook. I see you in the chats. Hi, Nina, by the way.
I don't know her, but hey, Nina. Hey, girl.
Alright. You try that. If it's terrible, everybody's gonna know, like, right off the bat, so.
Oh, man. Y'all don't watch me eat it.
Is it good? Okay. Alright. right, good. We're gonna call that a yes.
Yes.
All right.
Delicious. What's next?
Yeah, it did get all stormy up there. It's been storming all day. I don't know. I wish that this
how
rain.
How do you feel about this weather? Does it make you like? This rain brings me down. This makes me gloomy.
Well, it definitely like increases my pain because I've got a lot of like spine and muscular problems.
Yeah.
So like I've had to like medicate way more than normal today, just because of that. But I think my outside garden is probably very appreciative. Oh, I have some tomatoes for my garden. Do you like tomatoes?
No.
No. Does anybody like tomatoes? Okay. I have some baby tomatoes for my garden. This is like, I'm really excited about them. I grew it outside, all on my own. So, yeah.
Have you tried one?
Huh?
Have you tried one?
Yeah. You want to try one? No? Anybody want to try a tomato?
Oh my gosh, I eat them all.
They taste like tomatoes.
Is this better? Good. It's pretty good, right? Also grown in no-till living soil. Just want to throw that out there. Anything that's good for cannabis is also good for food. So anyway, yeah, I've got these tomatoes for my garden. So I'm sure my garden is appreciating this rain.
Yeah.
But
I just can't deal
me
with
not
rain.
so much. Especially because it keeps like teasing us. Like it's like all morning it was like it would sprinkle and then it would stop. And then it would sprinkle and then it would stop. And then it like poured down rain and now there's nothing. And then it poured down rain and then there's nothing.
I guess maybe it says, well, shoot, y'all get all this heat. Maybe I need to cool down a little bit.
Maybe. Well, I'm hoping, hopefully it'll bring the temp down some. That humidity has been crazy today, though.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat have any questions about the mac and cheese or my tomatoes?
She said she had some from her garden.
Do you have like a greenhouse, like kind of situation, or just like natural outside?
I don't have a greenhouse. Nope. It's just outside in my yard. We use basically the exact same way that grow cannabis. It's how I grow everything else. So, big cloth pots, full of soil, and then put the plants right in it. So, I haven't been as good about watering them as I should have been. So, they're probably appreciating this rain. Outside? So I haven't really had any problems with pests outside this year, which has been like really cool. But in general, like you do the same thing that you would do with a cannabis garden and use like an IPM spray, so integrated pest management. So basically the way that like for organic farming, the way that you feel about it is that from the start, if you're treating your garden as if you have pests, then you won't ever get them. So some common things that are used is like neem oil. There's some essential oils that can be used, like tea tree oil, rosemary oil, eucalyptus oil. Those can all be used. Castile soap. Mountain Organics has like a really good line of stuff you can get. And yeah, and then you just use those like every other week, and then you shouldn't have pests to begin with. So like that's kind of how you like prevent it. I've really neglected my outside garden this year though, y'all, like real bad. Like I pretty much planted it and then like went on vacation and came back to like a heat wave. So like I've not been doing as good as I normally do. What kind of cheese? So in the macaroni and cheese is cream cheese. I use whipped. You don't have to use whipped. Havarti, white American, and cheddar. But you can mix and match it how you want. I find the only ones you really like have to stick with is the American and the cream cheese, at least to get it like a good creamy consistency. But other than that, you can add whatever. Smoked Gouda is really good in it. I've done brie before. Any kind of cheddar, Monterey Jack, all that stuff is usually, any of it really works. Cheese is good. Do you like cheese? I just love cheese.
I like cheese. I'm lactose. I gotta.
That sucks.
Eat cheese some lemon.
Yeah, I don't know. I love cheese. I was like a vegetarian for 5 years, and I was a vegan for 3. But what ended up not letting me stick with veganism was cheese. It's always cheese. Yeah, like they have a lot of vegan cheese, but they're not the same. Like I can exactly. Right, it's almost all made with just soy, and like Now, Tree Line makes a really good soft vegan cheese. It's made with like cashews and some other nuts. It's delicious. But it's really expensive. It's like, I think $12 for like this teeny tiny little container that lasts me like 2 snacks. So, Havarti cream cheese American and cheddar. What was in it? And yep, it's not baked because I don't have access to an oven here. So it's just stovetop. But I made a roux. So yeah. So for the people who weren't here when I made it. So I made a quick roux, butter. I use gluten-free flour, but you can use any kind of flour that you'd like. And milk. And then I added in some infused olive oil, but you could use infused butter, infused coconut oil. I mean, you could even use tincture, to be honest. I would really think that you're going to need to up your seasoning game, though, if you use tincture in it, because you're going to want to, like, cook that taste out. And then brought that up, added some more milk, added in the noodles, stirred it up, salt and pepper. So pretty basic, but it's pretty delicious. Let's see. Any other questions?
And so with this, the
nacho cheese? Like making it the same way?
And I was just thinking.
Yeah, for sure. So I've actually done an infused queso. So basically you would just do it the same process, but add in like salsa instead of like noodles, you know? And then yeah, for sure. You can also, if you make salsa from scratch, like you can put infused oil in with salsa and blend it up. I did that last year. I did a lot last year. But yeah, I mean, there's almost no type of food that you can't infuse in some way. I mean, like, it would be really hard. Like, I can't think of anything that you couldn't infuse. Like, just name off something random and I could find a way to infuse it. Watermelon, sure, no problem. Infused sugar, sprinkle right on top of that bitch. Like, done. Absolutely. All you have to do is you have 2 options for french fries. You either got to infuse the peanut oil, because that's the best one to cook it in. So you either infuse the peanut oil that you're going to fry it in, but you run the risk of converting your THC when you do that. So my suggestion for fries would be to make a homemade sauce to go with your fries, and you infuse the sauce. Because you could make like a homemade aioli like really easily, or an infused ketchup. Like, for sure, you can make fries. Yep. Anything. Yeah, you infuse the hollandaise sauce. Done. See what I'm like? You can literally infuse any. There's no kind of food that you can't. that you can't.
Milk?
Huh? Yeah. Oh yeah. That's like a super like old school way of like. So yeah, in India, I wish that I had some pictures with me. Dang. They actually, it's like super common. These older, especially like the older crowd, did this a lot. But if you go, they like infuse the milk and with cannabis. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. Because if you think about, I mean, so THC binds to fat, right? So that's why you have to infuse it into like, or it binds to fat or alcohol. So that's why people infuse butter and oil. Milk is fat, especially if you use like whole milk. There's a lot of fat in that. I mean, you're gonna not get as much THC content as you would get in butter, oil, bacon fat, you know, whatever, duck fat. But you're still gonna get it in there. So, yeah, it ends up coming out to look like this slushy green milk stuff. But they like, it's medicine to them. They've been using it for like thousands of years. So, oh yeah.
Maybe I need to do some more research.
Any other questions? Anybody?
She wants to know if you can infuse yogurt.
Oh yeah, same thing. You just infuse the milk, and actually you can totally make yogurt from scratch in a crock pot. I've done it a couple times. You just need a starter for it. Yeah, there's recipes. Just I'm telling you, people can make anything. I have no like culinary skills in the fact that like I've never gone to college. I dated somebody who was a chef. I don't know if that counts, but
wow.
YouTube, Food Network.
I'm gonna just go to the grocery store and just stop picking shit up.
Yep. I'm telling you, go. Yeah. I challenge you to go to the grocery store and find an ingredient you have never used before in your life and buy it, and then go home and find a way to cook with it. Like, that'll increase your cooking skills like 100 times over just doing that. Even if it's like a spice that you've never used before. You could find some spice that turns out to be your new favorite thing, and you would have never known if you wouldn't have tried it. We tend to stick with like what we're comfortable with. Right.
I don't try to stare off because it's like every time I stare off, it's like, damn, why the hell you do that, Coco? You know you should stick to your normal do. You wouldn't be mad. You should just stick to what you know.
Yeah, well, how are you gonna learn if you don't try new things?
You're right.
Yeah.
So with this cheese, like,
Yep.
you know how sometimes cheese get like, it's not gooey anymore. It's not like cheesy anymore.
Right.
So what keeps the?
So what keeps this like creamy?
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason that I make the roux and like the sauce and build it up from there, because you're making it not just like cheese by itself anymore. It's more like a gravy. So I'm actually gonna start like putting some of this into cups for like people in the audience, because I don't want it to get cold. Because like, who wants cold mac and cheese?
Right. It's not as. Can't get that bone. That bone.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Nah.
Right now?
Right.
They want to know when they eat.
Nah.
Cow heel stew this week. See? That's something I would have never even like thought of before. See, the first time I had mutton is because I didn't know it was goat. So I went to the Indian grocery store and I thought it was beef. So I ordered the mutton, and then turns out it was goat, but it also turns out it was delicious. But I'd have never known that if I would have never bought it. So
I had frog legs before and it tastes like chicken.
yep, they do taste like chicken.
I had clams before. Clams taste like
are pretty
squid.
like common.
I've never had fried clams before.
Oh, they're delicious.
I was like, damn, I thought this
I mean, you
shit
can pretty
was
much
so
fry
mine.
anything and it's gonna taste good. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Speaking of which, so I saw this video this week. You want to hear some bullshit? Ready? There's these guys in California that have started a restaurant where their like entire business model is around tempura frying fan leaves from cannabis, and they're trying to make it seem like it's this big fucking health thing and that they're super innovative and it's this thing that like nobody else had thought of. Okay.
What?
Yes. I'm like, and they're like probably charging out the ass. Like they put it on this like fancy plating and they're like, it doesn't have THC because of when we harvest it. Okay. One, THC is not going to be on your leaves, especially your fan leaves, unless they're like highly resinous, and even then like it'd be like a super tiny amount. Second, it's just fried fucking fan leaves. Like, I could fry a piece of lettuce. That does not make me innovative. You know what I mean? Like, that's some like American shit. Like, we're gonna deep fry it. We're gonna call it something new and special. It's not. So I don't remember the name of your company, and I know you'll never ever see this, but if you do, fuck you. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. I hate when people take like something to do with like this is my big thing with like the legal cannabis industry, is that like people are taking, I love the innovation and I love the creativity and like I love all the new businesses and I think that's awesome. But there's a lot of swindlers too that are just trying to make something out of nothing. Fried fan leaves that they're charging like an absurd amount of money for and trying to present it as a health object. Like deep frying kale does not make it still like a healthy kale. Same thing. Anyway, sorry about my little side rant. I get really mad about this stuff.
Hell yeah, repost it. Repost it.
Yep, California. Yep.
Keep reposting. So what'd you do this weekend? How's your weekend go?
What did I do this weekend? I wasn't feeling well on Sunday, so I slept in Sunday and then didn't really do much that day. But Saturday I taught at the academy. So yeah, with a Saturday we did methods of consumption, because I do the consumption program, so talk about like medical use and stuff like that. So we did methods of consumption, but apparently I went overboard and I got like all the students like super smacked, because by the time that they got to like the third class, they like couldn't even like function enough to ask questions. So my bad. Because I wanted them to be able to try like different ways to like have cannabis. So like we sampled like some drinks and like, you know, a bunch of stuff.
Drinks
Some
for the
drink.
ass?
Yeah,
It's
like
3 or 4.
it was like, I don't know, I think I used like 2 bottles, and then they tried some brownie muffins, and then they tried some infused sugar, and then they tried some tincture, and then I think we passed around a J.
How many of your students really smoke?
Only one doesn't smoke that I know of, but the rest of them,
But they don't smoke as much as you do.
I actually don't smoke that much. Like, I think people are really surprised by like how little I smoke. Like, I use tincture, that pain tincture that I gave you earlier. So I use that like all day, and I alternate between that and the anxiety blend, and that's pretty much, I smoke at night or like when I'm with my friends, like if it's like a social thing, but like Otherwise, well, I did smoke this morning, but like it was more of like 1 or 2 hits from my bowl.
It's more often. Guys, you see how it comes?
No, really. I don't know. My tolerance has definitely gone up, but not nearly as much as other people's. Like, I love that, like...
Well, that should have been a question. Look at your tolerance and look at them. Like,
well, no, my students all have, like, a fairly low tolerance, except for Bobby. He, Stoner. He, watched Stoner for the People on Fridays, by the way. He was taking tincture and everything else, and I'm pretty sure he was totally fine by the end of that class, so... but most of the people in there are fairly new.
Set y'all up for failure.
My bad. I mean, they got to try different ways, isn't that like the whole point of the class? So, anyway, so that's what I did this weekend. Yep. Yeah, this is true. Well, we're hopefully going to be moving to a new location soon, and there's some like outdoor space at the new location, but it's like still like private.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Come check that out too.
Yeah, definitely do. I'd love to have you.
What days?
It's so right now it's on Saturdays from 11 to 4-ish. It's supposed to start right at 11, but I'm not gonna lie, it never does because people are late. It usually ends up starting around 11:30. And then we have lunch that you can purchase if you want or not. You can bring your own lunch. But we have a whole like cultivation program for people who want to learn how to grow. And then we've got a consumption program. We've got a processing program where that's where you would learn how to cook and make oil and learn about hash and rosin and all that cool stuff. And then there's an entrepreneur program which launches in September. And that's for people that are interested in getting into the cannabis industry in some way. So kind of like learning about the laws and customer service and like how to deal with complaints and like, you know, all the stuff that like some of the new folks need a little help with. That's all. But yeah, I think, let's see if there's anybody else watching. Anybody else have any more questions? Anyone? Yes, no, maybe so. What's up? Yes. Is it possible to make tincture out of honey? Is that what you asked? So there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can infuse the honey on its own, which is not what I recommend because you're not going to get all of the THC out of it that you would if you make like an alcohol-based tincture. So if you make an alcohol-based tincture, you can cook the alcohol out of it. And that's essentially all that FICO is tincture, alcohol-based tincture where the alcohol has been cooked out of it. So if you have, say, a cup of tincture that's already made, like alcohol-based, put it in a skillet and cook it on low and just kind of stir it around. That's an easy way to do it. You can also do it in a rice cooker, but if you do it in a rice cooker, I suggest you do it outside on your porch. It's just very flammable, so just be careful anytime that you're doing anything like that. But you basically just want to cook the alcohol out and then you add honey to it and infuse it that way. So another way that I've done it is equal parts infused sugar, which I talked about on the last show about how to make that. But equal parts infused sugar and equal parts honey, and then you just cook those together. So that's another way to do it. But there are a lot of people that just, you can also, if you have distillate or CBD isolate, you can add those directly to the honey as well. So that's, a lot of people that do honey, it's just distillate and honey. So yeah, you can infuse anything. If there's something that can be, you can infuse water. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to drink infused water. I think that wouldn't taste very good, but you can do it.
What's the second way?
The equal part sugar and equal part honey, in my opinion, is better.
Does that one go bad though?
I mean,
Honey does not. Sugar does.
I mean, it would go bad, but I used it long before it was bad. So, you know, yeah, shelf life for anything varies. I tell everybody that if you just leave an edible like sitting out, especially if it's like homemade, it doesn't have, most of them, if they're homemade, are not gonna have like preservatives in it, right? It's always the gummies. It's no matter what. I tell them, put the gummies in the fridge, they're gonna go bad. Put the gummies in the fridge or they're gonna go bad. A week later, I get a photo sent to my phone of like a moldy gummy, and I'm like, was it in the fridge? Oh, I didn't know you meant right away.
Oh, yeah.
Without fail.
Right away.
Yes, right away. Put it in the fridge. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, you're welcome. Hey,
You're
we're gonna wrap it up
welcome.
early today.
You're welcome, ladies of Caps today.
Thank you, Coco. So I think we're gonna wrap it up a little early today. But if you have any other questions, just leave them in the comments on the Facebook Live video, and I will be sure to get back and answer them later. Next week, we're going to do Taco Tuesdays. We're going to do tacos 3 ways.
Well,
Yep.
boom! I love me some tacos, y'all.
We're going to do chicken tacos. We're going to do standard, like, ground beef tacos, and then we're going to do veggie tacos. So that's next week. So if you are in DC, make sure you come down to Listen Vision Studios Tuesdays and Fridays, but especially Tuesdays for Tasty Tuesdays. We're here from 12 to 10. There's several of us here. There's Productive Potheads, Gooby Dabbington, Eddie Yumi, Cannabis DC, Capital Skunk, and Ladies of Capsterdam. So come down, hang out, have a good time, and get some free food. Yep. Thanks for watching.
Free food.
Thank you.